Hey everybody, welcome to your Wednesday night with me, Rachel Edelman, and honorable mentions, a special edition, colon, the joy of posting. Hi, I'm Rachel Edelman, and you are watching me now. Just a second. Hey everyone. Hi. It's so good to know you're in there, in my box, with the tubes in it, that you're watching. And hopefully, this is something that you will enjoy watching, either on your entire screen or in the corner of your screen as you do something else, in the main portion of it. Today I thought I would do a little bit of a combo break from what I've been doing the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, I've done a show called Honorable Mentions that have had some pre-production involved, some bits, some segments, some guests, very complicated, lots of thought. Today, I was like, what if I just wrote jokes for an hour? Would this be something people would enjoy, be enlightened by, feel enriched through the process of having experienced it? I am curious about these questions, and therefore the only thing you can do is put it to the test. So tonight, for an hour, which I feel like I'm gonna get half an hour in, and I'm gonna be like, what did I do to myself? I am a curse unto myself. Kat writes, I think writing jokes takes a lot of thought too, but maybe less preparation. That is true. Part of me wondered if this was just my way of shirking the responsibilities of preparing a real show. And I reject that idea because what I really wanted to do was to keep exploring, and this is part of exploring. Hey guys, hello, good, hello, maid. Part of this is I want to keep exploring kinds of shows, things I can do that people will enjoy watching. I feel like honorable mentions, my last 2 episodes have been really good. A few people have watched. I'm grateful for those people, and also I want to see if there is things I can do that are even more attractive in terms of people reading the copy, reading the promotional material, and being, yes, this is how I want to spend my Wednesday. So this is part of that exploration process. I'm like, why not? Hello, Dr. Love Truffle. What an enticing name. So today I thought I would just do an hour of writing jokes. Tonight is an interesting night to write jokes for the internet, for Twitter. It is a very serious night. There's a lot of stuff happening. So certain jokes work better in certain environments. Tonight is a very busy night in terms of news. So let's kick it off. I'm gonna do a little bit of just reading my feed a little bit and just kind of expressing a sense of where people are. What are kinds of jokes that people might be receptive to, because writing jokes is confronting just a suite of tensions. The first tension is anyone in the mood for jokes? And we're gonna find out. Obviously, you want people to hey Noble, you want people to like your jokes. You want people to be in the mood for your jokes. You want your jokes to be a positive experience in the world. There are times on Twitter where everyone is just, things are just too bad and people are too mad, and you're just like, writing a joke now, posting a joke now would just be like joking at a funeral. It's just the wrong time. So I'm gonna see what it's like on the Twitter, if there is a sense that there are jokes to be made, and almost always there are, but again, it has to do with the vibe in the room. What are people talking about, and can you pull from that? Can you be inspired by that in a productive, interesting, insightful way? So we're gonna go to I believe I'm sharing the screen. I'm a real Luddite. I'm like, I think you'll be able to see what I am writing and what I'm reading when I click the tab. Here we go. Cool. So Awesome. So the first thing you'll see are my notifications, and we're just gonna go into the feed a little bit. This is not a show about you watching me read my feed. This is just a show about the first thing I do to write jokes is just to see what people are talking about. So I'm just going to come in here briefly just to get a general sense of the mood of the room, reading the room. Cool. I've been told it worked amazing. And I also am at 15 viewers. Not that I care, although I do. Uh, I may promote the show. This is a longer show. One thing that's cool about having a longer show is you can also promote the show in the middle of the show. Like, who gives a shit? So let's see what's going on here. Constitution's happening. Tea partiers. This is in the past. Let's see. Police and feds are taking protesters by force out of their cars and into unmarked vehicles in my hometown of Kenosha. This is very dark. There's a lot of horrible things happening. Hey, Brandon. What did you miss? Just me kind of explaining that tonight is just a show where I am writing jokes for an hour. And the first thing I do for that is just to read the room a little bit, seeing what people are talking about. And then I'll go into some joke writing. Actually, let me go into my fantastic Larry Swedman. This is more of a this is not one of my lists. This is a list created by somebody else, but it's more of a comedic list. It's more of a comedian list. Exactly. Brandon says the room being the ether of Twitter. Exactly. Hey, Aaron says the room is dark. You light some candles, get comfortable. I don't want to say get sexy. It's up to you. I don't feel like I'm pressuring you either way. So let's see. So Twitter, as you can tell, is very complicated. Lots of stuff happening. Hard to read and talk at the same time. Hire a bunch of workers together, stop working for a stated purpose. Cool. So, like, a lot of people are talking about the wildcat strike, which I just read what that was on Wikipedia. I am unwell read. So yeah, we're gonna talk Austin theory. I don't know what that means. Cool. Cool. Tucker Carlson straight up endorsing vigilante murder on the show tonight. Sounds like him. Sleeping Giants is on the case. Wildcat strike is the only phrases that accurately demonstrates how cool that act is. I agree. So cool. There's a lot of stuff happening. Tucker Carlson is apparently into these mass shooters. Tucker Carlson had a shock are we that 17-year-olds with rifles decided they had to maintain order when no one would. Man, Tucker Carlson, if I had to write a joke, it would be about Tucker Carlson. It's like, Tucker Carlson is a cunt. That's sort of my joke about him. If you guys can read that, let me make it bigger. There we go. I'm gonna watch myself. There we go. That's my big joke about Tucker Carlson. You know what? I'll just post that. I don't care. This is 1 hour of joke writing. This is the first joke of the night. Tucker Carlson is a cunt. So yeah, sometimes you just have to get straight up into it. Let's see if that resonates with people. What's cool about tweeting is you get immediate feedback. Especially when I tweet, I have 10,000 followers, so it's like tweeting to a full football stadium every time I tweet. So it's just the amount of aggrandizement I need to really just emphasize all of my huge flaws. I've been reminded that we will post a video of this. So I'm sorry for cussing. I do love cussing. There we go. Lots of enthusiasm for that. Already a positive, enthusiastic joke. But seriously though, this was serious. Let's get into some real writing. Cool. So today, just to go over what has happened today on my feed, besides the aggressive promotion of this show, which I will promote some more. And Noble says, have you tried Fucker Carlson? Actually, I'm actually really interested in how many people have written for Fucker Carlson. This feels like a big joke that people have probably gone to. Wait, let me put that in quotes. Fucker Carlson, Fucker Carlson. This guy gets curled Fucker Carlson a lot. Look at all those Fucker Carlsons. Just a beautiful symphony. As that you can, it's like a scrolling symphony. It's a symphony you can scroll. There we go with Hitler mustache. And he just really blows. Oh, he makes me so mad. It's Fucker Carlson doing some chores in this house. Brandon is referencing in the chat the fact that when WAP came out, Wet Ass Pussy, everyone was making a joke that the chorus or refrain from that song, there are some whores in this house, would be, for the purposes of Kids Bop, changed to there are some chores in this house, a joke that everyone on the internet made at once. And what else, Luigi? So let's get into some real writing right now. It's very strange and I'm not used to it, but I'm going to try to get into writing mode right now. One writing thing that I really like, and also I'm just obsessed with always checking my notifications. I do it way too much. Let's do it again right now. Tucker Carlson the cut. We're up to 27. That's pretty good. That's already a good tweet. That is considered for me a success. Some jokes that I've liked recently or that I wrote that I was pretty happy with. When animals look like they have eyebrows, that's the stuff. If you guys can see that. I'm like putting it, I have it on my phone too, so I can see what it looks like to you guys. You know what? Let me blow this up for you guys because I'm like, they can't fucking see shit probably. Here we go. Can you guys see that? Yeah. There we go. Now it looks like on my phone. We have on my phone big enough for you guys to see. And this is how we'll look at it. Cool. So let's again look at those lists. I can no longer see where my lists are. These are my lists. And this is my profile. So stuff I did recently. One thing I liked recently, one type of joke I realized I like recently. Let me find it. It's almost here. It's a little bit lower. So this is a type of, I realize this is a type of tweet I write a lot. And I'm going to force myself to write some more of these tonight. That was kind of my one promise to myself. Geez. Ugh. What did I do? Let's get some big fonts up in here. There we go. So this is one of the tweets I wrote earlier today. And this is one of my favorite structures of tweets. Just one moment, I want to read Brandon's chat. He says, I have so many questions tonight, and ironically, one of them is how does having constant viewers that chat and that you feel compelled to reply to affect the process of writing? It looks distracting. I knew this would happen. I'm like, Rachel, prepare to be distracted. And it's fine. This is part of why I gave myself an hour to, it's a baptism by fire, guys. And you guys are the fire, and I'm getting baptized. I feel very sacred right now. And after that, I'm gonna get so good at tweeting while talking. This is all a skill set that I need. So again, returning back to the question of tweets, this is a type of tweet I realize I write a lot, which is a tweet that is this way because of X. I wrote this one earlier today. It's fine. It's not amazing, but I'm relatively happy with it. I would say I'm relatively happy with most of my tweets. I'm occasionally thrilled with my tweets, and I'm occasionally guilty of my tweets. But for the most part, I'm relatively pleased with them. So this one is they put cherries on top of ice cream sundaes because back in the old days, that was the only way to let people know where sundaes were. people didn't develop the ability to see sundaes until the 80s. This is a tweet that is of the nature of noticing something that I don't understand the origin of. In this case, why they put cherries on top of ice cream sundaes, and then building a backstory. And the reason I think I'm relatively happy with this one is I do think the idea that people can't see sundaes is funny. I do think that it strikes the audience as a little too absurd to really connect. And for me, that's why it's only relatively pleasing as opposed to hilarious. Today, I thought I would practice for the benefit of both myself and you guys at home, or in jail, wherever you are, some of these tweets of this nature. So we're going to do, and I should say, for the record, I almost never write my tweets in a Google Doc. I almost always write them in I almost always write them here, but I thought for the purposes of this, so I can see that Tucker Carlson is, when the first tweet is about Tucker Carlson, you can tell that he's really gaining steam for whatever he just fucking said. So that's just kind of something to keep in the back of your head. If you think of a great Tucker Carlson joke, this is the time to post it. So let's see if maybe Tucker Carlson will come up in the drafting. We'll see. I think that if you try to write a tweet about a topic right away, it can often feel forced or trite, or you can often just end up echoing the rest of the chamber. You should often, for me, I try to write jokes that are not necessarily topical, and then but keeping kind of the topics of the day in the back of my head, and then waiting like a tiger about to strike for the moment that you can create a joke around it that feels really organic and satisfying. Noble AV says, I find absurdist humor the most consistently funny. That's good that you follow me because I only write nonsense. And Heller Good writes like a very funny tiger. Thank you. I do think I'm a hilarious jungle cat. So to write some tweets of this nature, obviously this tweet is trying to find the origin of cherries on top of ice cream. So other stuff that is weird, like Fitbits, Big Ben, you can just list them in a row. Just things where you're like, who came up with this? Why does this exist in the world? This does not feel like it belongs in the world. Or just like an object that feels like it belongs to two things. Like Fitbits are bracelets that are also doing math. So that to me strikes me as absurd. Partly because I'm not a tech guy. I'm sure tech people are like, that is perfectly intuitive. For me, it is not. For me, it is this weird thing that exists while failing to perfectly enmesh itself in the reality of sort of our day-to-day. So it sticks out to me, basically, is a really long-winded way of saying that. So anything that sticks out to me, and I'm someone who's very stupid, or I think of myself as someone for whom a lot of the world is not intuitive. So that I feel in this particular sense gives me a leg up, because a lot of things strike me as strange where they may not strike other people as strange. Kat says, hashtag 5 things. For the people who are not improvisers in the chat, 5 things are as high a number as improvisers can think of, and that is why we use it as a warm-up game. So Fitbits, Big Ben, so we can say like, Big Ben is so tall because English people used to be giants before, and then you're like, I can't think of a reason they stopped being giants. So you can leave that for now. That's just going to be in the back of my head. You're like, I don't have a punchline yet. We can come back to it. If this were real life, I would just forget it and then think of the punchline, 5 days from now and be like, wow, now I have it. For the purposes of this, we're going to leave it up on the screen just so you can kind of imagine that the blank page is my brain. It's really hard to always perfectly communicate the experience of what's going on up there, but I'll try to for the purposes of tonight. Anything in the chat? Brandon writes, Fitbits are bracelets that do math feels done, like you'd see it on a lesser comedian's feed. I admire that you won't just fire that off until it's right. Brandon is correct. Fitbits are bracelets that do math. For me, is exactly half a tweet. It's not finished in my head. For me, I would need it feels like it doesn't wrap around, to use a metaphor that is shaped like a Fitbit. So some other stuff, milkshakes were invented when a farmer got mad. Cool. So this feels 2/3 of the way done to me. You could, there's a, if I were in my room, having recently been rejected by a man and having nothing to do all night but think of a punchline to this, the first question would be like, why was the farmer mad? Milkshakes were invented when a farmer got mad. He heard he just found out, and something that would make a farmer mad. He just found out that something that makes you mad. What's something that's not real? The farmer got mad. He just found that the balloon boy never went up. So you're like, this is okay. For the purposes of this, I would say this is like a C+ tweet. This is not my favorite tweet I've written ever, but for me, this is okay. What we're going to do is we're actually going to go to the Twitter page of not myself, if it will ever let me change people. Won't let me change who I am. Maybe I need to shrink this down. But I would like to actually do these not on my own Twitter. I don't want to spam my 10,000 people. I'll do these on the 2MB Studios. Sorry, Matt, I'm going to spam these guys a bit. So we're just going to, one reason to just post is just to get it out of your system, just to kind of get the tweet out there. So we're going to do that. Milkshakes were invented when a farmer got mad. He just found out that balloon boy never really went up. So you're like, this is okay. It doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't feel like this is the first tweet I've written since being watched by 15 people. So we're just going to throw that in there, and we're just going to get used to the new process. The Tucker Carlson one, though, it looks like people are really. Let's see how that Tucker Carlson is a C word is doing, right? Let's look at that. Let's see, Tucker Carlson, 61, pretty good. Great. Close your mouth. You're not giving head to your boyfriend or girlfriend. I can't tell what the hell you are. Scott Trump. I don't know who this guy is. I really love that some guy who pretending to be a Trump obviously searched for Tucker Carlson's name and then wrote sort of a rebuke of my tweet that's basically trying to insult me, but is so much to the extent that it's word salad that not only does it fail to land, it also fails to take flight. So you can see he really just made his Twitter account last month. Let's see who he has been. I'm not writing jokes right now. I'm just kind of showing you how I use Twitter, which is cursedly. So you can see this guy is just name searching Tucker Carlson and just being rude to people who are mad at him. So this is really funny. It's really funny. This guy's spending his whole night just defending Tucker Carlson by telling people that they're giving head to their boyfriend, which, by the way, nothing wrong with that. Not an insult. Cool. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Cool. Made says bad jokes. get yeeted to MB Studios. Got it. Aaron, she says, allow me to report him on my way. Incredible. Loaf says, word salad is right. Sweet Bean says, also, you can still tweet while doing oral sex. I have never tweeted while doing oral sex. It seems like the tweets would not be up to my typical standards. So cool. So I didn't expect this one to do well. I don't really like it. I'll probably delete that later. It's just kind of it's just kind of giving you a sense of the structure of this. Like, we can try some more. Tucker Carlson's a really big deal tonight. So probably because he endorsed. It seems like he endorsed extrajudicial murders, which is a big deal. So if I come up with a good joke for that, the problem is that the news lately has been so repugnant and catastrophic that it's very hard for me to synthesize that into pleasing, pleasant, lighthearted, whimsical yucks. I have had trouble doing that for a while. I think a lot of people have. One reason I don't want to write for a late night show is because I don't want to write Trump jokes. That's one of the reasons why I've never created a packet for a late night show, even though
Hi, everybody. It's Matt. I'm Rachel's wonderful assistant. Rachel, you froze up there for us for a second. So, yeah, now you're muted. So let's get rid of that for a second.
Hello, am I muted?
You're not muted anymore.
Cool. So can we go back to the thing?
We can.
Oh, great. Sorry about that, everybody. So now we're back. So I would like to write some good tweets for you. So what I might try to do is to just write without talking just for a couple minutes. Feel free to chat with each other. I just need to I would like to produce some good tweets for you tonight. And not just pantomime what it might look like to write a joke without actually coming to the conclusion of having a good joke. So we're going to try to do that now. I'm going to try to get into the writer zone. Some people think writing is a solitary pursuit. We're about to either prove those people right or wrong. So let's try that right now. Brandon says we should aggrandize our favorite Rachel tweets in the chat. That's very sweet of you, Brandon. Let's see. Also, if you think that we should have like classy, free to license music playing under the show, let that be known too, because the thought had occurred to me. So I'm like, how quiet is this show right now? Is this too quiet a show? I prefer music, if not to listen to while I tweet. I prefer silence while I tweet, but I also understand that this is entertainment. So I'm gonna try to write some good tweets. Cool. So let's see. I'm gonna clear my head. I'm not being watched. This isn't a show. It's just me hanging out, writing tweets, being normal. Cool. We're gonna have a good time. So, things that I think are weird. That's fine. Let's keep going. I think of like a fun water joke. Mountain Dew from a mountain. Poland Spring. And now I need like a third or fourth one for that joke to land. We'll come back to it. Let's see. Brandon's referencing the Mint Man one. That was a good one. We can let me just remind myself of when I used to tweet good. I am not tweeting good right now. Mint Man. The Mint Man, I arrive at the hotel room. There is a mint on the pillow. I start to cry. My wife emerges from the bathroom. My voice is shaking. You've been fucking the Mint Man. Now she is crying too. 25 years of marriage. So from here, you can tell the jokes just started. Why is there a mint on the pillow? Why do they put mints on the pillow? Obviously, it's for courtesy or etiquette or some sort of tradition among hoteliers. But I proposed, what if it were instead a sign of infidelity? So that's kind of the stuff. So that's kind of the stuff that I look for. Poland Spring, Springford Mountain. Let's see. So things that I don't understand. So we might start with things I don't understand or think are dumb. We can start sort of building them out this way. I believe this is how my brain does it naturally. Cool. Sexy leg lamps. Sexy lady lamps. Lady leg lamps. Just naming stuff that I think is silly. Clowns have flowers that shoot water at you. And this one is almost a full tweet. To remind you to practice self-care. It being used for jokes. Came later. So that's not really, that needs a little bit more work. We're going to keep moving. How are you guys doing in the chat? Muscle milk, gross. Cool. Now I'm like wondering if I ever wrote a muscle milk joke. Have I ever written a muscle milk joke? Muscle milk. When muscle milk goes bad, it turns into an arm. That's actually a pretty good joke. I totally forgot I wrote that. Thank you. Let's see what else. Still vaguely betrayed by the fact I used to drink muscle milk a lot and never transformed in one of those weightlifters on the boardwalk. So that one's not really good. It's from 2018. Whatever. But apparently I've written 2 tweets about muscle milk. I totally had forgotten both of them. And this one, I would say, pretty good. Let's retweet that. There we go. Clowns have flowers that shoot water at you. I feel like this is a fun premise because it's obviously done out of a hostile version of comedy. I feel like if you can kind of tie the bow there, there's a tweet there. Let's keep going. Hey, Dr. Love Trouble made Blarney Stone. Blarney Stones are weird. Blarney Stone. Oh, there was that kid who rewrote Scotch, the Scotch language, right? But Blarney Stones is from the Ireland, so I don't think there is probably any way to connect those. I think that fact that the guy like ruined the Scotch literary tradition as it exists on the internet is tragic and hilarious. And the second I can think of a good joke about it, it's going up. But I don't really know that much about Scotland. Whenever I think I know something about Scotland, it's usually about Ireland. So I try not to write I don't end up writing a lot of jokes about that country. So clowns have flowers that shoot water at you to practice self-care. Let's see. Thank you, Adi, for liking this tweet. Clowns have flowers, blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna kind of keep on thinking of things, and then I hopefully that'll get me back into my typical process where the jokes emerge. Just one more time, let me check the chat. Tragilarious. I was like, Tragilarious? Is Matt having a stroke? But no, it's just a portmanteau. Portmanteaus are fun. Portmanteau are a common. The word portmanteau is a combination. Is a combination of the words port. We would use like a normal banal beginning and then like have a ridiculous end to this. A combination of the words port, a type of hole, and manteau. A manteau. So there's a few ways you can go with this. You can go manatee's toe. You can go a French manatee. A French manatee who likes to put words together. The whole, some would say, the whole is unnecessary. One thing you try to do with, or I try to do with my jokes, is to try to give them an authoritative tone, the weirder or sillier they get. So for example, some would say, I would change to some would argue or many would argue, because that sounds like something you would read in an article. So you'd say some would argue the port part, the whole, the first half of that of the word accomplishes little. I would say accomplishes little. This I would say is getting more, we are getting closer to my style of writing that I would do by myself. The word portmanteau is a combination of the words port, a type of hole, and manteau, a French manatee who likes to put words together. Some would argue the first half of the word accomplishes little. So this to me feels pretty good. So we're gonna just tweet this out. I feel like we're getting closer. Somebody replied with a dick. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Microsoft word account problem. It always does that. We're gonna go to the little feather. We're gonna just tweet this out. This seems pretty good. We're gonna decapitalize that. And we're gonna treat that. That one's not bad. That one's, I would say, a B- for that one. Let's check the chat. A couple of people from the let's tweet this. There we go. Questions from the chat. Is there a benefit to use third person versus first person? The answer, I would say, is the type of joke you're telling. If you're making a joke about yourself, use first person. If you're making a joke about, if you're trying to like make a joke about the world, you're like, this is the reason this thing exists, or it's so funny. Like you're trying to make a joke about popcorn or pencils, and it's not about your perspective. You're like, this is weird world as opposed to weird person. It would be a third person joke. Kat says some would versus I would. Right. So Heller Good says it's more formal, underscores the absurdity. Exactly. The weirder your joke is, the more you want it to sound like it comes from like a medical journal or a science journal. 2MB Studio says, are hashtags still a thing? I would say hashtags, mainly I see them for events like the Oscars or like corporate events or like corporate sponsorships. Like when I worked for United Way, they gave me hashtags that I had to use so that our sponsors would see that we were tagging them. And it was a whole thing. I would say in your day-to-day, not unless you're like, oh, these are my wedding photos, I'm posting them online, and I'm hashtagging Ben and Martha 2020 so that when I want to see them all at once, you click on the hashtag. If you're not in one of those specific situations where you want to see them all at once later, I would say hashtags are not necessarily part of it. They're not very useful. I don't really use hashtags as a means to browse. And also I think people who put like 20 hashtags in a tweet, I think that just looks like you're just like, please read my tweet. I think it looks like a little weird. And you're part of being on Twitter is part of being good at Twitter and being on Twitter is trying to look cool, like a little cool, like trying to be somebody that other people might like. And I know that like that kind of sounds like sucky or shitty or bad, but when it's like we're making fun of each other, we're busting each other's bums. It's kind of that kind of place. So thank you, Aaron, for liking this tweet. So for me, like this tweet, it's hard for me to categorize. It's hard for me to score this tweet in this situation. I may come back to it and be like, wow, that sucks. But for me, it feels at least like it's accomplishing its job. So for me, that's closer to where I like to be. Just going to go to the chat again, and then we're going to do some more tweets. Chat again. Made writes, hashtags can be very useful to being able to mute a lot of related but not threaded tweets, like tweeting about events. Good. 2MB Studios writes hashtag thirsty. Heather Good writes bumbusters. And Aaron is waving at me. I don't know who that. It looks like a celebrity emoji, but I can't tell. So we're going to go back to some tweets. I'm just going to write some fun tweets right now. See what works. See what I can think. See to the extent I can think of tweets while I'm being watched and while I have an audience. Let's see if that audience is at 20 viewers. Can't express again how grateful I am that you're all watching this at all. Cool. So let's get back to it. Whew. Cool. Yeah, we're just gonna write some. We're gonna just like throw some out. PO box stands for pissed off box. It hates that it hates mail and would rather be full of what's in something that's not mail. It hates mail. It would rather be full of I can't think of anything. So we'll just kind of write some X's there. We may or may not come back to it. I just like the process of generating. Cool. Let's see. The portmanteau one seems to be, I don't know if all of these people are watching this, seems to be doing okay. 2MB only has, as you see, 274 followers. So a tweet that gets 4 likes from me is doing pretty well. Maybe it's probably not cool to care about how well tweets do, but it does give me a nice sense of what plays and what doesn't with an audience, especially the audience that I myself am cultivating through who I follow and who follows me back. I think that's pretty typical. So let's keep going. Let's see. Diving boards are weird. Are for people who are scared of being people who want to swim but are scared of lack of height. That was actually pretty good. Let's do that. Or for people who want to swim but are scared of lack of height. Should be lack of height or should be lack of heights? That looks in my eyes a little bit cleaner. So let's do another one. This feels tweetable. Beep. Hyphens are another thing that make it look make things look more official or more clean. So for that reason, if it feels like if it feels like an appropriate place to put hyphens, then feel free to snap them in there. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So one thing that I feel like I am advantaged in is the fact that my brain does like kind of reel off lots of associations really quickly. So like the second I looked at diving boards, I thought like sneaker guys. I don't feel like I quite know enough about sneaker guys to make fun of them. I just know they like sneakers a lot. And I'm just like, that seems like mostly a harmless hobby. So, and also I don't know enough about sneakers, so we can move past that. I feel like we are not in a place, I feel like making fun of Kanye West. When I think of sneakers, I think of Kanye West's like weird clamshell shoes, which people were making a lot of fun of the other week. I didn't have any particular good jokes for them then or now, and also time has passed. I feel like making fun of Kanye's shoes will probably come up again when he like introduces new shoes, or when there's like a new news item about Kanye, and then we are like allowed to go back to the shoes. But the shoes are not in the news right now. Shoes, not news. So we're not going to make fun of those shoes at the present second. Just again, I actually need some water. Actually, I have water. Cool. So what else is there in my head? Visors are kind of fun. Visors. I love visors because they are a hat that you wear only when you're gambling, which I think is like a funny idea. They're also funny because they look like hats where most of the hat is missing. So both of those two ideas are there. It's about sort of extending those ideas a little bit further so that there's like a little bit more meat on the grill. Like, so visors are great if you want a hat but hate wearing something on top or on the back of your head, and you have gambling. I don't want to write a gambling addiction because I don't want to make fun of people with gambling addictions. So you might say, and you have you might say you have 24 hours to get Big Tony his $5,000 back. So that's good because instead of making fun of people with addiction, you're making fun of people who owe money to the mob, which is obviously objectively funnier, just because it's something that happened within this presumed character's agency. They made a series of choices which ended up with them needing to make that much money back. Visors are great if you want a hat but hate wearing something on top or on the back of your head, and you have 24 hours to get Big Tony his $5,000 back. If people can make the connection between this and the act of gambling, it'll work. If people are like, what does visors have to do with getting money? Then it won't work. I am actually not in a position to be able to tell you if people can make that connection because I'm too close to the joke. All I can do right now is to copy it and tweet it and see how it plays. So you see, Matt is liking the diving board joke. Guys, I can't tell if the jokes work as if you guys are just being nice. So we're gonna just try this out. We're gonna throw this in here. I think this is nice because it tells us a little story. And I think that yeah, I'm like relatively pleased. About as pleased as I ever am with anything I write. So this seems fine. We'll tweet it out. That's some good stuff. Let's go back to the chat for one moment before I get back to writing. Hello. Hello, good. I only like the ones I like, but I like a lot of them. Thank you, G. So let's just see how many people are watching right now, just because I'm curious. 21 viewers. Guys, you are all adorable, darling, perfect angels, and I appreciate you so much. Let's get back to tweeting. Let's see. My brain like keeps going to shoes. Like every time I like stare at this page, my brain's like, there's something you should write about shoes. And then I respond to my brain, I don't know anything about shoes. So I feel like maybe having a premonition that something about shoes is going to come up in the next couple days, at which point I'll be able to satisfy this urge. A lot of making joke is just having this weird animal proclivity towards certain like sensory experiences, like shoes, or like tapas, like the soft felt, the soft animal felt of like a tortilla wrapper. Like there's something there, and then you're like intellectually there's nothing there, but it's just something your brain, there's like this animal part of your brain that's just drawn toward these concepts, or drawn toward this like memories of sensory information, and you kind of my ex is playing Civilization 6. I can tell from the desktop. Your brain is kind of getting dragged along by this kind of impulsive streak in your head. And luckily, if it takes you to enough places, it'll get you somewhere where you can sort of build rapidly some sort of premise. So that's kind of how a lot of my jokes work. Let's see, stuff from the audience. I love a shoe joke. Sandals are visors for feet. That's true. That's just a true thing. That's not a joke because it's true. Sweet Bean says, there it is. Noble says, do you do stand-up? I have done stand-up. I do stand-up. Obviously, I haven't done much since COVID. I tend to do more improv than stand-up because I'm lazy and it's easier. It's not easier in the sense that it doesn't take a lot of skill, but just in terms of institutionally, back when the theater was open, I could just show up, twice a month and just do a show to a mostly sold out crowd. Whereas a stand-up, it's like honing your act by yourself without your friends, and like getting yourself booked and this whole thing. But I do like stand-up when I do it. Kat says, I did twice and it's terrifying. I feel like I feel like I've been in front of enough crowds and have done enough stand-up that the fear is just something that lives in my mind politely to the side, like a ballroom where someone takes like a booth seat. The fear's there. Like I see the fear, like I do feel the fear. But I also have enough power and enough agency over my body and my voice that I power through it. And also, I know intellectually that nothing can harm me. 90% of the time, there's nobody with a gun. So I have internalized that, and therefore, I'm like, even if I fucking bomb, I'm okay. Let's get back to tweeting. I'm going to try and write another joke before I go back to the chat. I am highly distractible by nature. I have ADD, in case you can't tell, but I'll try to write some more jokes for you because that is the point of this show. Let's try to think of some more. Panama hats are fun. Panama hats are fun. I just like anything that's named after a place. I just need to remember what a Panama hat looks like. Cool. So I don't have anything. I don't have any jokes about Panama hats. Just the phrase came in my head. So I'm just gonna leave that phrase in the Google Doc just for fun. I think I just like it. There is like this poetry, the Panama hat. I think part of my brain thought it was a good joke because of the long word and short word, and you're like, oh, it ends in a like a snappy word. It must have a place in a joke somewhere, and it probably does, but I don't have a premise for it, so we'll just like leave it there to sort of malinger. Let's see. Dr. Love Truffle says, it seems easier to riff off others than building an act. I'll say that it is easier to improvise with people you love and trust. Occasionally you are doing an improv set with people for whom those are not necessarily true. And you're just like, man, this would just be easier if I were by myself. Occasionally I've had that thought in the past. So it is a double-edged sword to be on stage with other people occasionally, because you're like, not to say I'm funnier than them, but I do feel like in this moment I could be funnier without them. To be perfectly horribly honest. Let's get back to some joke writing. Let's see. Ballroom dancing, kind of funny. Ballroom. is funny. The word ball is funny. I feel like I am, this is some like shallow skimming. I can feel my brain like not quite getting to the beautiful chunks of gold sort of that are on the riverbed. I'm kind of just skimming the top of the water. So I'm going to just kind of keep writing until I kind of feel the depth achieved by my skimming pan or whatever, gold pan, whatever those things are called. The biggest problem, the hardest part of writing is remembering what things are called. My mom calls it word retrieval. She says that everyone in our family struggles with it when you know that there's a word that you're thinking of, but you can't reach it. I used to have huge word retrieval problems when I was a child, and I would say that they have gotten better, but they still manage to persist. Luckily for comedy, when you can't remember the name of pizzeria and you call it the Red Sauce Pie House, people laugh and no one wonders if you have a problem. So it usually, again, works to your advantage in this particular context. Cool. So, other stuff to do, ballroom dancing. Let's see, other fun ideas, words. I'm like staring at my fingernails. That's when you always know when you've hit the wall, when you're just staring at your hands. You're like, aren't hands funny if you think about them? Like they're like feet. Like they're like feet. If it, like you're like, these hands are just fucked up feet. Honestly, like, am I the person who has to tell the truth about hands? Cool. So let me see. Notifications. Whenever I'm blocking, it's always fun to see if I've gotten any encouragement. Thank you. So I can see that nobody but people who are watching the stream are linking these. The portmanteau one I feel like is the only one I've really nailed so far, even though how far into the stream are we? We're almost an hour into the stream. I can't believe I've done this for an hour and I've written one joke. I mean, I've written more than one, but only one that I felt like was good. So for these last few minutes, let me just see how many people are watching. Cool. For the last few minutes, I'm just gonna try to write some good ones, just because I feel like that's something that I have denied the audience up until this point. The last 5 minutes, I swear I won't look at how many people are watching the stream. I won't look at the chat. I won't look at the notifications. I won't look at my hands because there's no joke there, Rachel. Hands aren't that funny. And I'm just going to try to think of amazing jokes. Here we go. All right, cool. So part of writing for Twitter is the feeling that you always have the next great joke at your fingertips. That said, I'm just gonna go back quickly and look these over because I feel like I wrote a bunch here, and I feel like these were pretty good. Hippies love tie-dyed shirts because they're swirls and bleeding. Colors remind them of the catastrophic experience of living during the Vietnam War. I think it's okay. I don't love it. That's why I wrote but it's not the worst thing I've ever written. Fruit of the Loom refers to the fact that there is a tree that grows underwhere the aforementioned loom. I like it's the idea that it's I just like it when people try to establish a metaphor and you're just like fuck you. I'm taking it literally. The aforementioned loom in the Colorado Hills that is heavily guarded. I just like that. I like again. This is like a backstory we're building. This underwear tree. That also has this weird sense of menace. I like the combination of the silliness of an underwear tree plus like the weird mess of heavily guarded like a heavily guarded compound or tree sanctuary. So for me, this hits a lot of my buttons in terms of my own sensibility. Moving on. The hardest part of working on the census is when you visit the house from the movie Multiplicity. I really like this joke. This is arguably the joke that I am immediately most happy with. I like that we get the census in there because that is something that's happening now. So it is a topical joke. Guys, we did it. We wrote a joke that was topical. And I also love it when we can just refer to movies that I think are movies that are kind of in the popular consciousness that are not like constantly memed every day. People don't talk about Multiplicity, but they all basically know that it's about Michael Keaton being cloned 25 times or whatever. So for me, this is just a joke that is successful in a couple of ways that are sometimes hard to do. We have water, water everywhere, but not a drop of drink. Refers to the famous line of the Samuel Coleridge poem. Again, this is a very silly joke, so you want to get that authoritative voice in there when you can. Of a mariner attacked by clowns shooting water at him from their flowers. So the perfect, a more ideal version of the joke might shrink this down a little bit. I don't necessarily have the bandwidth right now to do that. It takes a very delicate surgical eye, which I'm lacking necessarily right now. But again, in the real world, you might try to shorten that. And Net Gross was invented by a guy whose money fell into a big spider web. I like this because I'm a big dumb idiot. I'm like, this is funny. I also like don't understand money or how it works. So this to me, I'm like, that's plausible. Mickey Mouse's ears help him hear sounds up to 50 miles away. I'm doing like a quick check. Like, is that a plausible? How far do animals hear? 50 miles. Those ears are pretty big though. So let's give it that kind of stamp of approval. And this helps them detect instances of copyright infringement. I like this one because, again, it combines, like the Fruit of the Loom joke, this very lightweight, whimsical idea of giving Mickey Mouse sort of real life animal attributes and then tying it to sort of these unsavory real life aspects. Because we all know that Disney's chokehold over the copyrights of its works and insisting and using its lobbying power to extend its copyright is a major chokehold on all creative output of people. So whenever you can get a jab in there at Mickey Mouse's expense, at Disney's expense, I feel like you should go for it. And the last one is Philadelphia is known for its cream cheese, its cheesesteaks, and its cheese casualties. This one's very this one feels like it's halfway there to me. If you could think of like a funny third thing, cheese casualties for me does not do it. But I do like the idea. The premise I think is strong. The idea that Philadelphia is known for things that are always related to cheese, and then just having something where you're like the cheese version of this thing that's like kind of dark or gruesome or strange or somehow absurd that shouldn't have anything to do with cheese, but somehow it does. But I'm not there yet. This I'm gonna noodle on, as they say, and hopefully I'll have a better idea of that in the future. So we're gonna go back through these. Which ones do I like? Which ones I don't? I know somebody was like, I really want you to finish the Mountain Dew one. I don't have an click on the link next week. Maybe I'll have one by then, but I don't have one now. Vampire, let's see, milkshakes prevented when the farmer got mad. He just found out the bloom bite never went up. That one's like a practice run. Vampire looks in the mirror and doesn't see his reflection. Blarg. Is that what vampires say? Blarg? Is it blag? Vampire sound effect. Blah. Is it blah? Is it blah or black? I don't know what vampires say. Anyway, it's probably not good enough to justify the amount of research to find the exact right B word. We're going to move on. That's on one's unfinished. Unfinished. We posted that one. Unfinished. Posted. For me, this is like almost there. This is like a 59 if you had to grade it. It's not quite there. I do like this one. This one's going to go up. I'm going to post that. Let's see what else. The hardest part of working on the senses is when you visit the house from the movie Multiplicity. I'm charmed by this one. We're going to give this one a go. And I'll retweet it on my main so that people can see it. Water everywhere, but not a drunk drink refers to the famous line of the college poem of a mariner attacked by clowns, shooting water from their flowers. Shooting water from their flower lapels. Let's just go with this. I'm tired. A lot of tweets just end with being like, ugh, it's fine. Let's see what else. Net gross was invented by a guy whose money fell into a big spider web. Fan of this one again because I'm dumb. I like it. It's like a fun dumb one. Mickey Mouse's ears help him. Again, this is fun. I like the darkness. So we're gonna tweet that. And I know I'm kind of spamming the people following, but it's fine. I don't care. It's fine. So those are the tweets. Let's look back at the chat, see if you guys had anything to say or to ask me. Hi, Marissa. This episode has been funny and interesting. I'm really glad you liked it. Loaf of Bread says, I laughed at thinking of just a tweet of Mickey Mouse's ears help me hear sounds. That would have been really good. To and be good, not your feed good. Agreed, fire. I love the multiplicity one. Cheese right. Cheesecloth is cheese apartheid. Cheese apartheid, I feel like we're almost there. Cheese murders, and I like the darkness. 2MB. Cool. So I think we're done. Just 1 second. Let me get back to the screen where I can see you. Whoa! Thank you, Matt, for turning off the share screen. Guys, we're gonna wrap up tonight. This was honorable mentions : yay! I'm glad you liked it. Yay. I was very nervous about doing this. I'm like, I don't know if I can write while I'm being watched. But it turns out I can do it sort of, which is good enough for the purposes of television or whatever you call this. Thank you, Marissa. Again, I really appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. I'll have another show, an episode of either this or what we've been doing previously or some sort of synthesis next week. So follow if you're not following the station, the channel, and keep following me on Twitter. I promote the shit out of anything I do, so you'll definitely know what I'm doing. And I had so much fun, and I'm about to lose my voice, but it was worth it. I love you all very much, and I hope you stay safe, and also Fleck Tucker Carlson. Good night.